So the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake is a massive success. And to that I say, water is wet. You take one of the most beloved animated movies of all time, a film universally praised for its story, its characters, its emotional depth, and its stunning animation, and you remake it in live action with a huge budget and a built-in fan base, of course it was going to do well. But while the box office numbers are impressive and the online buzz is high, there's a deeper conversation to be had here. One that isn't just about the movie's success, but about what that success means for the future of DreamWorks, animation, and the Hollywood remake machine at large. Let's talk about it. The How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is, by many standards, a modern classic. The original 2010 film came almost out of nowhere and instantly blew audiences away. With its sweeping score by John Powell, breathtaking flight sequences, and the genuinely touching relationship between Hiccup and Toothless, it earned its place in animation history. So when DreamWorks announced that they were remaking it in live action, the writing was already on the wall. This wasn't some obscure cult favorite getting a second chance at life. This was a box office darling and critical success being given the Hollywood glow up. In a sense, it's a no-brainer. You've got a proven IP, a generation of fans who grew up with the original trilogy, and a larger general audience that often perceives live action as more serious or more real than animation. Add in a strong marketing campaign and some well-placed nostalgia, and the success is all but inevitable. This isn't unique to How to Train Your Dragon. Disney has been doing this for over a decade now. From Cinderella to The Jungle Book to The Lion King. The formula is the same. Take a beloved animated classic, recreate it in live action, and rake in the profits. Love it or hate it, it works. Here's the cold reality of the movie industry. Studios are businesses. And from a business standpoint, live action remakes are one of the safest bets you can make. Animated movies, especially original works, are always a bit of a gamble. They take years to produce, require massive creative effort, and often have to fight against the misconception that animation is just for kids. In contrast, live action tends to attract a wider demographic, particularly older audiences who might not otherwise watch an animated film. So when a studio like DreamWorks sees Disney making billions off of this strategy, it's not a matter of if they'll follow suit, it's a matter of when. And now, with the success of How to Train Your Dragon, DreamWorks has its answer. It works. There's profit to be made, audiences are willing, and nostalgia is a currency they can bank on. Expect the floodgates to be wide open. Now, this is where things start to get a bit murky. Because if How to Train Your Dragon is a hit, and it very much is, then you can bet that DreamWorks is already looking through its catalog of animated hits, figuring out what's next. A live action Shrek perhaps? Seriously, don't laugh. It's not outside the realm of possibilities. A realistic Kung Fu Panda with CGI anthropomorphic animals doing martial arts with a more realistic setting? Sounds a bit ridiculous, but then again, The Lion King and Jungle Book both exist. Maybe even a gritty Prince of Egypt reboot with sweeping desert visuals and photorealistic plagues. It kind of works. Now, I'm gonna be honest here. I will never forgive them if they make this movie. I definitely watch it, don't get me wrong, because this is my personal favorite movie of all time, but I love it as an animated film. I don't think I'd want to see it in live action, even though I know it could work and it probably might even do well. I still don't want to see it, but I would watch it begrudgingly just because it's my favorite movie of all time. It is what it is. Look, the point is, success begets repetition, and repetition eventually begets stagnation. We've seen this play out with Disney. For every Maleficent to Alice in Wonderland that brought something new and visually impressive and interesting to the table, we got a live-action Lion King. A nearly shot-for-shot remake that felt hollow despite its technical brilliance. And then there's Mulan, which tried to reinvent too much and lost the heart of what made the original resonate with audiences. DreamWorks now stands at a crossroads. They have the opportunity to learn from Disney's mistakes, but if history has taught us anything, it's that success makes studios complacent. Nostalgia is a powerful drug. It convinces us to overlook flaws, it makes us more forgiving of mediocrity, and it sells tickets. Most studios know this, and they're not shy about weaponizing it. However, the problem is that nostalgia is finite. Eventually, it burns out. And when the novelty wears off, All that's left is the question, was this remake actually worth it? If DreamWorks begins churning out live action remakes at the same rate Disney has, we could very well see the same pattern emerge, diminishing returns both creatively and financially. Audiences are already beginning to feel the fatigue. It's only a matter of time before even the most die-hard fans start asking why these stories are being told instead of new ones being created. Eventually we ask ourselves, what was the point? Here's the part that stings the most as a fan of animation. The success of live action remakes often comes at the expense of the original medium. There's an unspoken message that animation is somewhat lesser, that these stories only truly matter when they're remade with real actors and photorealistic 3D animation and effects. But that's simply not true. How to Train Your Dragon worked because it was animated. From the varying designs of each dragon, to the expressiveness of Toothless, the stylized world, the sweeping camera movements during the flight scenes, all of that was elevated by the medium of animation. These are things that don't always translate cleanly into live action. So when the industry leans too hard into remakes, it sends the wrong signal. It says that animation is just a blueprint, a stepping stone to something better. But animation itself is the cinematic experience. It's not the kids' table of filmmaking. It's the full course meal itself. And remaking these films without understanding what made them great in the first place is a recipe for disappointment. Now with all that said, I want to be clear. I don't hate the idea of a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. I'm even glad it's doing well. I think the film itself even looks solid. And probably sometime down the line, I'd eventually check it out. But I'm not racing to the theaters to do so. Part of that is personal preference. The other part is that I already have the perfect version of this story told to me many years ago, in all its animated glory. But mostly, it's a growing wariness of where this trend eventually leads to. A reluctance to support a model that often favors rehashing old ideas over taking risks with brand new ones. Look, I'll eventually give this movie a fair shot once it comes out on streaming. I want to like it. But if I'm being honest, I'm going to go in with tempered expectations. Because while the live action remake may succeed in a financial sense, and it may even be a good movie, I'm not convinced we can ever fully capture the magic of the original. So yes, congrats to DreamWorks. The live action How to Train Your Dragon is a hit, no one's denying that. But we shouldn't let box office numbers blind us to the larger picture. Success today doesn't guarantee success tomorrow. And if DreamWorks turn this into a winning formula rather than a passion project, they risk repeating the same mistakes Disney has spent years making. Let's celebrate the win, but let's also demand better. For animation, for storytelling, and for creativity in cinema. Because if we don't, we'll just keep getting more of the same, until we're too burnt out to care. But hey, that's all I have to say. And please let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think the live action remake route is a good way to go for DreamWorks? Do you feel the live action remakes lessen the impact of the original film in any way? Or even just undermine the original as a whole? Even if you completely disagree with everything I've said, feel free to let me know. But also while you're down there, please like and subscribe and share this video with some of your friends. Maybe they'll have some interesting perspective on this. And doing so will just generally help me as a whole, so I'd really appreciate it. Animation for me has always been a medium where imagination, where creativity and skill all come together in perfect harmony. It's the only medium that exists where fantastical worlds such as this can truly exist and thrive and feel alive. There is nothing like animation. There truly isn't. It is such a fantastic medium, and I hope that one day more people see that and studios as well come to appreciate that more. Although remakes are going to be in our futures for many years to come, I still hope that we get original animated films that manage to capture our imagination and tell fantastical stories that only animation can tell. I truly do hope for the best. But that's just me. On the other hand, I've been Casual Wandle, and I hope you were entertained, and I hope you enjoyed your stay. And until next time, it's bye-bye for now.